My name is Derek Hall. I'm the President and CEO of Lakefront Utilities, and I am privileged and honored to welcome each of you to the town of Cobourg water treatment plant this morning. It's operated by Lakefront Utilities Services on this beautiful, sunny, historic day. I can tell you that when Nico and I discussed possible locations for this announcement, the existing water tower, which is right behind me here, was considered, but you folks would have missed this magnificent view of the lake and would have needed mud boots at the other tank locations. So I think this is much better. We have several very important dignitaries today and a packed agenda. So before we get to the heart of why we are all here, a couple of quick housekeeping details. Washrooms are inside this building and also upstairs if you need to use the washroom. And if you haven't already, please help yourself to some snacks and refreshments. So without further delay, please, I'd like to tell you why I am here and then introduce other speakers. When I received the news from Mayor Henderson that the ICIP program funding, the funding that my team applied for in the fall of 2021, it made me one of the happiest person, I must say, in Cobourg. Our project relates to the replacement of the existing 40-plus-year-old end-of-life Victoria Street elevated water tank. And that tank provides approximately 1,300 cubic meters of water storage in Zone 1 of our drinking water system. And it's being replaced by a much larger elevated tank further east of Cobourg. So, our board of directors at Lakefront intuitively knew that as we exit the pandemic, our government will be looking to stimulate the economy with shovel-ready projects. With that in mind, we commissioned a comprehensive water master plan and rate study in 2020. And this project builds on our water master plan, which identified the tank as in need of major repairs or replacement, and confirm a water storage shortage, recommending additional storage in zone 1, that is. So I prefer not to take away from our MP and the minister and mayor's announcement by getting into the exact figures. But what I can say is that 40% of our applied funding is being provided by the federal government, and 33%, 33.33 to be exact, by the provincial government. And it's a very decent amount, and we are very excited about it. This will go an extremely long way in ensuring our infrastructure is in good standing to supply high quality drinking water and maintaining reasonable rates for our Cobourg customers. We are extremely grateful for this assistance and would like to thank both members of Parliament that are present here today for their support of our community. Also, I'd like to quickly close with gratitude to the folks that assisted on this initiative. Our engineer firm SEMA Plus, and I see Will McRae somewhere in the crowd. Thank you, Will. Our board of directors, Bob Bell is here, and David Tabucci, I'm sure you've had an opportunity to meet. Town staff, Brent, where are you? I see you somewhere there. Thanks, Brent. Our mayor, and I know you were very involved, John. Cobourg Council and members of our water committee, and of course my staff. So thank you all for your efforts, support, and lobbying for this grant. It is very much appreciated on behalf of all of Cobourg's customers. And now, I'd like to, Philip Lawrence, to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Derek. And I will note on the agenda I have 2 minutes, so I will try and stay within those 2 minutes. Being a politician and a lawyer, there's no guarantee that will happen. But just want to touch on 2 themes very quickly. I'll of course let MPP Pacini, who's been a driving force in this, go into details of some of these great projects. But 2 things I'd like to point out. One is that we are going to require infrastructure. Of course, we have a housing shortage in Northumberland and really across Canada. And in order to build housing, we need infrastructure. And so it's absolutely critical that we support both business and we support home ownership by putting in appropriate infrastructure. And I think it's the role of the federal government and the provincial government, and I'm so glad that David was able to drive this force, both for the provincial and the federal funding as well, myself working in collaboration to get it done here, and we'll continue to work at it. And the other, which is related to that theme, is talking about just that collaboration. It's so great to have this many politicians this close to water. Never mind about that guy. It is so great to have this many politicians, this many staff members working together for the betterment of Northumberland. And it is absolutely a great achievement of the collaboration. I will say, MPP Piccini at the outset of the COVID pandemic got us all together, and we've been meeting nearly on a weekly basis to make sure we were all aligned, all doing the same things. We all want to do what's in the best interest of the community, and it's fantastic when we get days like this, when we can get it done for the people of Northumberland. So congratulations, guys, and looking forward to working hard to make sure that we fully support you going forward. Thanks very much.
First and foremost, Lakefront Utilities. Derek, you've been a leader. Derek has been an important partner, Derek and the team here of the Government of Ontario. Remarkable board that's very supportive, and it's been important. Derek spoke about really the importance of planning for growth, the data that he collects, and the innovative entrepreneurship and the innovative ideas that he takes. When he said the pandemic, government stimulus, post-pandemic, he's already thinking ahead, thinking about serving this community. It's a reliable partner, and I commend you, Derek, the team here, remarkable staff, the board, for all that you do for our community. Secondly, to build on what Phil said with respect to partnerships, to serve this community, we can't do it alone. In fact, government can't do it alone. We saw through the pandemic the most remarkable acts of volunteerism. We were just on the heels of the Civics Award, where Cobourg honors the best and brightest in our community volunteering. It really is a community effort, and I'm very fortunate to work closely alongside MP Lawrence, a remarkable set of municipal leaders who are here today, who are constantly driving forward the needs of an ever-growing Northumberland County and broader Northumberland Peterborough South. And they're strong advocates for their respective communities. And we've got a lot going on. This community's growing. It's the best place to live in Ontario, obviously a bit biased, and we couldn't do it without the leadership of our municipal partners and their staff. And finally, for Phil, this important collaboration under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, when the province moved swiftly to nominate a number of projects, it was met with a keenness and a passion and drive from Phil to work collaboratively. Not in the spirit of partisanship conflict, but Phil was always there to pick up the phone, to bring the right ministers to bear, and I can't thank you enough, Phil, for your hard work. Today's a great day. It's a big announcement. We're on the heels of Budget 2022, a plan to build Ontario that focuses on two core themes: building and investing in key infrastructure and working for workers. And this announcement today really speaks to a lot of that. The green infrastructure stream. For too long, growth has been followed by critical infrastructure. No longer. In the province of Ontario, we're going to get it done and build critical infrastructure to support growth, to support these communities, for reliable access to clean drinking water. Ontario's launched the largest freshwater cleanup on Lake Ontario, the largest source of drinking water, working closely with Pollution Probe as a part of our Armada Ontario Environment Plan. And this important partnership, engaging key stakeholders like the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Chiefs of Ontario, to design and develop the second intake of the green infrastructure stream. Again, a whole team effort. Across the province, funds will be targeted towards projects that address critical health and safety in communities with the highest need for funding. It'll support critical water infrastructure, First Nations, local service boards operating in communities with populations of under 100,000 people. Because rural Ontario matters to this government. These investments will provide residents of these communities with safer and more reliable drinking water and drinking water infrastructure for decades to come. So today, I'm proud to announce over $22 million worth of projects in our community, of which $7 million is being supported by the Government of Ontario. I'll leave it to our municipal leaders to describe the projects a little more, but from Brighton to Port Hope, Otonabee South Monaghan, Hiawatha First Nation, Trent Hills, Alnwick Haldeman, Asphodel Norwood, and Cobourg, we're getting it done. And here, of course, in Cobourg, with the largest of investments to replace the elevated tank here in Cobourg, is so important to the growth of our communities. We can't do it serving without you. So again, a special shout out to the workers who through the pandemic, and we had these conversations, and I remember John reaching out, if COVID impacts me and a politician, you'll all still be okay. But if it impacts the men and women providing clean drinking water to us, we have a problem. So supporting workers, investing in critical infrastructure, and making sure we're here to ensure that our communities have access to clean drinking water, not just today, but to plan for growth in generations to come, is ultimately why we're all here. So thank you for being with us here today, and I'm pleased to turn it over to a number of mayors who are kind enough to join us today, and I'll turn it over to start with Mayor Brian Ostrander. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful day for the drive to Cobourg. In Brighton, this funding will help us replace a almost century-old water main in the west end of our Main Street, cast iron water main, if you can imagine. It's a $3 million investment in Brighton, almost 3/4 of which is being funded by the federal and provincial government. So gentlemen, thank you. Without this funding, we'd be on the hook for a lot of money. So we do appreciate it because it's a critical piece of infrastructure that needs to be done. It will not just allow safe, clean drinking water to flow to that west end of our community, but it also allows for sustainable firefighting in a growth area of our community. And we really do appreciate it. More importantly though, Phil and David understand the need for infrastructure and infrastructure funding across Northumberland County and have been tireless in their work with the mayors across Northumberland and Peterborough South to ensure that we have sustainable funding processes. And certainly I know David hears me talk about sustainable income levels and revenues a lot. So these grants are helpful, but we'll continue those conversations as well, Minister, as we move forward. So my thanks to both of you for all of what you do, but specifically for the funding announcement today. And specifically, my thanks to our staff in Brighton, our Public Works and Infrastructure staff, who have done the heavy lifting to get us here today and continue to do the heavy lifting every day in Brighton. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mayor Ostrander. I'd like to call upon
to Minister Piccini, MP Philip Lawrence, Warren Crate. I see former Warren John Logo. From our staff, Brent Larmer, our town crier, Deputy Mayor Suzanne Seguin, and of course to Mayor Ostrander, Mayor Sanderson, Mayor Latchford. Thank you for being here. Cobourg's Zone 1 elevated tank replacement was a major project identified, in fact, with the Water Master Plan commissioned by Lakefront Utility Services and was reflected in the Cobourg Water Wastewater Rate Study that was recently approved by Cobourg Council. I personally like to thank Derek Paul, CO President of Lucy, the Lucy Board, SEMA, Northumberland County Public Works Manager Infrastructure Dan Campbell, collaborating with the Town of Cobourg Public Works Department for their dedicated efforts in submitting a very detailed ICIP application. This new 5,000 meter times 3 tank will replace our existing Victoria Street elevated tank, which only provided 1,360 meter cube of water storage to Zone 1. So you can see it's almost 4 times the original size. I'm pleased to tell you that the federal investment of $1,995,004 and Ontario's contribution of $1,662,337, and more importantly, those 8 cents.
That was dangerous.
Ensure that future land development growth within the northern and eastern quadrants, known as the East Secondary Plan, are providing efficient water service to our community, certainly well beyond 2034. The The town of Cobourg certainly celebrates this very important federal provincial investment. And if you're doing the math, it's approximately 3.66 million with a caveat up to just below $5 million. This sizable investment means there will be little to no impact on the Cobourg taxpayer, with a total build out of approximately $7.2 million. In closing, today's announcements to me certainly demonstrates the strength of our government partnerships and collaboration, working for the benefit of our Cobourg community. It's a winning outcome for all stakeholders, including our ratepayers, local trades, and aids in attracting new commercial businesses to our great community in Cobourg. So on behalf of Cobourg Council, CEO Tracy Vaughn, who's out of the province at this time, senior staff, Holco, Lucy affiliates, and the good citizens of Cobourg, please accept our very sincere gratitude.
Thank you for those remarks, Mayor Henderson.
This got in. Uh-oh.
It's all good news, guys. Anyway, to echo a lot of the comments already, these two representatives for our municipalities are doing a great job, and we acknowledge that. I've never seen or heard of such collaboration as our municipalities have. So I think we're special. I've always thought that, but this kind of proves it a little bit. I have in my pocket something I never want to have to use again if I don't have to. The masks, right? We did a great job getting through the pandemic. Let's make sure we don't have to go back, right? And that's up to all of us to do that. The other thing that we normally start with is some sort of territorial acknowledgement to our Indigenous communities. We are on the territory of the Mississauga Nations. That's pretty much what we have to say in Port Hope, and we recognize Alderville. And I think it's a very important path forward that we continue not just to acknowledge, but that we work with the Indigenous communities. And we're finding that is really fruitful and very helpful. So again, thank you for inviting me. The Green Stream funding success for Port Hope means the replacement of a water standpipe with a brand new water tower for our community. So we're kind of in line with what John was saying. We have a very old, smaller standing tank that can be replaced. The existing standpipe provides floating storage for Zone 1 of the Port Hope drinking water system that requires extensive interior and exterior rehabilitation. That cost would be about $1.5 million, just to fix something that's old and kind of useless. It's also located in a residential area on a small plot of land. Location is not ideal. A more functional facility cannot be practically fixed at this site, so we're going to be moving it. This funding allows us to remove the existing standpipe and erect a new water tower with greater capacity in Zone 1 with good water main connectivity and an ideal location. Quite frankly, it's probably going to be up on Croft Street. We have some property there that we're looking at. Port Hope is growing, and this new water tank storage facility will address future demand and improve water supply. And I think David made a very good point when he comments, you need to build infrastructure to get growth. All too often we spend a whole bunch of money to put infrastructure after growth. And certainly in some of our communities, and Port Hope's no exception, we're fairly historic. Our infrastructure's kind of old. Particularly if you look at Walton Street, which we're going to be rehabilitating as well. So we are extremely grateful, not just for this announcement, but the continued support this government has shown for infrastructure and getting right down to the basics. This is all about people, it's about jobs, it's about housing, you know, and I think the support that we received in all these areas is going to allow us to continue to thrive, but to maintain our integrity as communities, focus on people, families, environment, all the things that I believe need to be done for the future. We couldn't do it without you. We thank you very much. Thank you.
everyone. Again, I'll just start out saying, as my colleagues have said, it's with the help of these two gentlemen that we're here today. And they're so great to work with, and what they work on providing for Northumberland County and is tremendous. All McCalderman Council staff and residents are very appreciative to the federal and provincial governments for supporting our 2021 Green Infrastructure Funding application. The township applied for a grant of $1,719,000 for the replacement of the Grafton drinking water system well. The municipality is replacing a well that has elevated ammonia levels to ensure safe drinking water for the 401 residents of the Grafton drinking water system. The existing production well, TW1, and the test well, TW3, will be decommissioned. To be successful with Green Stream funding in partnership with our federal and provincial governments, all working in unison, is how our needs in rural Ontario are better able to be accomplished. Canada will contribute $687,600. Ontario will contribute $572,942.70.
Better than the 8 cents there. You're improving, David.
Alderman will contribute $458,457.30. And I especially want to thank MPP David Passini for his tremendous support for this much needed project in our township. I also reached out to MP Philip Lawrence when we were waiting on the results and the announcements, and his staff said I couldn't talk to him right then because he was on his way to the committee to encourage them to support Northumberland County. So that was okay after we got the call and the announcement. So I want to thank him as well for his time and effort to make our application successful. Derek Paul, who's worked with us all the time, his staff, and Larry especially as well. I want to thank them. Our own Grafton Water Committee, and two of my councillors are here, Councillor Greg Booth and Councillor Mike Phillip. They co-chair that committee and anxiously waited for this announcement. So, and I've two members, former Mayor John Logal and new member Greg Cole, who have just joined that water committee, and they are attending today too. So thank you, Government of Canada and our Ontario provincial government, for approving Alma Calderman Township's green infrastructure funding application.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm pleased to join MP Phil Lawrence and our Minister Puccini, my fellow mayors, to help announce these successful green infrastructure projects across Northumberland County. We know that investing in clean, green infrastructure is not only economically sound thing to do, but the right thing to ensure future generations are able to enjoy healthy and sustainable communities in our county. And our county is growing. We are growing, and so looking to the future is important. These 5 Investing in Canada infrastructure projects in Allen, Calderman, Brighton, Cobourg, Port Hope, and Trent Hills will go a long way towards helping to increase our resilience to the effects of climate change and to ensure Northumberland families have access to modern services that improve our quality of life. For Trent Hills and especially the village of Hastings, the new transmission pipeline will provide sufficient flows and provide the safety of additional line supply to the south side residents, eliminating any potential interruptions. It will ensure the needed water pressure at hydrants for our firefighters on call. It will also provide sufficient drinking water capacity for the community now, because we are growing and we are having future development, so we look forward to that. On behalf of Northumberland County Council, I want to thank both the federal and provincial government for providing this funding to implement these projects. You know, and as we said earlier, when the pandemic hit and David convened our, we went from weekly to bi-weekly, and we actually got out to a month, and then we had another virus hit, so David got us back into meeting every other week, and those are very important, and it kept all of us together and all of us working together to make sure that our county and Peterborough South was looked after. So thanks to Phil and David for all that, and thank you all for being here.
And one over here. Thanks, guys.